Let me ask you something. What is the one thing about your life that you keep promising yourself that you will fix, but inevitably do absolutely nothing about? Maybe it is indeed your health, maybe it's your temper, maybe it's your phone habits, maybe it's the way you keep saying yes and secretly resenting everyone who asks you any question. Maybe it's the goal that you've been meaning to start for the last 3 months. And here's the thing, you're not confused about it. You already know what you should do. So why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you moving forward? The problem usually isn't information. We have enough of that in our modern day world. It's often the lens that you're looking at this information through. It's the story you're telling yourself about time, about effort, about help, about success, what you deserve, what you can handle. So today, in an attempt to help you and to help make this world a better place, I'm going to walk you through 5 mindset shifts. 5 mindset shifts that change the way I operate. They're not theory. They're real shifts I've learned the hard way through training people in the gym, through building some sort of career, by becoming a dad and trying to live a life that doesn't just look good on paper, but actually feels right inside my chest. And if you've been stuck in a loop of I'll start soon or I just need more discipline, this episode is going to give you a better lens to look through. Welcome back to Built Resilient Team. My name is Bart Walsh. Today I am your coach, and I'm also a keynote speaker and a fitness expert. And what a start to 2026. Give yourselves a beautiful round of applause. Look, I've been seeing good vibes everywhere. The gyms that I've been visiting, the vibes are through the roof. There's a lot of people really giving it all in 2026, and that makes me feel so happy. I think it's going to be a very interesting year. And for me, in the keynote speaking world, things are about to heat up. Keep an eye out for a lot more speaking content coming very, very, very soon. If you want to follow me on all my beautiful journeys across this country, you can follow me on Instagram at walsh.fit or LinkedIn or TikTok. Look for Bart Walsh. You'll find me. But on to today, why we are here. This episode, it's about mindset. It's about mindset shifts. It's shifts that stop your own self-sabotage. And when I say self-sabotage, I'm not talking about some dramatic self-destruction. I'm talking about the everyday stuff that quietly keeps you smaller than you want to and, dare I say, need to be. So let's get into it. Look, the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I've seen it in myself and I've seen it in thousands of people who I've trained, who I've influenced. These are good people, these are capable people, these are hard-working people, and they're people who can run a team, they can hit deadlines, they can build a body, they can look after a family, but they're people that still can't seem to consistently look after themselves, look after number one. And the big pattern that I have noticed, particularly in the last 12 months, is this. When your mindset is off, when your focus is off, you keep choosing short-term relief over long-term results. I want to repeat that again. You keep choosing short-term relief, short-term satisfaction, dopamine, over long-term results, long-term joy. And it's not because you're weak or wrong in any certain way. It's because your brain is doing what brains do best. It looks for the easiest path, the safest path, the most familiar path. And the shifts I'm going to go through today, they are what helped me stop defaulting to that path and to the comfortable. Let's start where all good things start, and that's mindset shift number 1. Life has seasons, and you are allowed to have them and recognize them. I learned this lesson in the gym. When I first got into personal training, I loved the grind, I loved the hustle, I loved the early mornings and the late nights. I loved the idea that effort equals results. You work harder, you get more. And look, that felt clean and it felt fair, it felt right. But over time, you start seeing a truth that applies to every part of your life, not just your training. Let's think about athletes. Athletes don't train flat out all year. I've said this time and time again. If you want to get better at a 100-meter sprint, you don't just run 100-meter sprints over and over and over and over again. There's seasons to your training. There's seasons to your recovery. There's a reason why they've got an off-season, they've got a pre-season, they've got build phases, they've got tapering. They push and then they recover. They intensify and then they consolidate. They don't apologize for it. It's the plan. It's the way things work. It's the way your body works, and it's the way your mind works as well. Life also works in this way. And I think a lot of us sabotage ourselves because we demand the same output from ourselves in every season of our life. We don't have an off-ramp. We don't give ourselves a season to relax. You expect peak productivity while you're sleep deprived. You expect motivation while you are emotionally cooked. You expect growth while you're dealing with a chaotic life. And when you can't meet that standard that you're used to, you start calling it failure. And that mindset is brutal. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a trap. The healthier mindset is, what season am I in right now? Some seasons are for pushing. They are there for a reason. Some seasons are for rebuilding. Some seasons are for grieving. Some are for maintaining. That's been my year for the past year. And some are for just getting through. They're for survival. And look, these are not lowering your standards. It's really just being intelligent. It's preparing you for what comes next. And if you are a leader in any context of your life, the leadership piece here is enormous. If you lead people, you already know output changes depending on the season. Teams have capacity. People have capacity. Families have capacity. So why are you the only person that you expect to run at 100% forever? Don't be so hard on yourself. And this shift alone pulls a lot of people out of shame. It gives them permission to adjust the plan without abandoning the plan. It's a really hard mindset to shift into, but we need to give ourselves grace depending on what season we are in. Mindset shift number 2 is still a hard one for me, and I'm going to imagine a lot of you as well to swallow. Mindset shift 2 is that getting help isn't weakness, it's leverage. And this one completely changed my life, and I didn't learn it quickly. In fact, I'm still learning it today. I used to pride myself on doing everything myself, the jack of all trades, a master of none, but it was all me. I thought that independence was strength. It's what I was taught. I thought that asking for help meant I wasn't capable enough. I thought if I just worked harder than everyone in the room, that I'd eventually figure it out and things would just click in some magical way. And sure, look, you can brute force some things for a while. You can, and it works. I've been there. But eventually you hit that ceiling, because effort without guidance can turn into years of repeating the same patterns and remaining exactly where you are. And I had to learn again and again that progress speeds up when you stop trying to be the hero. This has been massive for my speaking career. I had this period where I was doing all of the things. I was creating content just like this. I was putting myself out there. I was writing. I was practicing. I was rehearsing, reaching out, and still feeling like I was pushing a boulder up a hill. I was going nowhere. And then I started asking for help properly and very clearly and very transparently, not vague help. Real help, specific questions. I asked people who knew the industry better than me. I asked for feedback about my presentations, which was very hard for me to do. I asked for introductions. I asked for advice on positioning, on pitching, on what actually gets you booked as a speaker. I stopped assuming I had to reinvent the wheel in my own head. And almost immediately things started moving. Not because I struck the lottery and just got luckier, but because I was smarter about my approach, because I shifted my mindset. I asked for help. And look, if you're listening to this today and you feel stuck, you feel lost, you feel like you're spinning your wheels, I want to ask yourself, why am I not asking for help, and who can I ask? Because most of the time, the person you need help from doesn't think that you're weak. They don't look less on you. They think you're serious. They think that you're coachable, that you're eager, that you're pragmatic. And coachable people, team, they progress faster. Mindset shift number 3 is a rich life is built from moments, not possessions. And before I get into the script on this one, we know this already. And I think a lot of us understand this rationally, but for whatever reason can't express it yet. We know happiness is found in connection. We know it's found in the moment, but still we're pursuing the Maserati. Still we're pursuing that financial freedom, and we're willing to take risks to get there. And look, becoming a dad really rewired all of this for me. Before kids, you can get away with thinking life is about milestones and achievements and titles and shiny things. You chase that next goal, that next position. You chase the next upgrade. You chase the next, once I have that, I'll feel settled. And then you become a parent, and your kid does not care about any of that. They care whether you're there. They care whether you're present. They care whether you're playful, whether you're patient, whether you're listening or half listening whilst staring at your phone. And then one seemingly normal day, it hit me. A lot of self-sabotage is actually a misunderstanding of what you're trying to build. People sabotage themselves in this sense by chasing things that look good, but do not feel good. That's an important difference. More money, more status, more things, more stuff, more achievement, while the actual moments that make your life rich are slipping through unnoticed. This mindset shift doesn't make you less ambitious. It makes your ambition cleaner and your focus clearer. You still build, don't get me wrong, you still grow, you still chase, you still hustle, you still want more for yourself, but you stop trading your life for your life. You start noticing the moment, the dinner table, the bedtime routine, that uncontrollable laugh kids have, the conversation with your partner that you would have missed previously, the quiet 5 minutes where you actually feel okay and still. And look, that is not soft, team. That's the point. That's why we're here. And it changes how you work too. You stop burning yourself. And look, it changes how you work as well. You finally realize this and you stop burning yourself out for deadlines that you've made up in your own head. It gives you peace. Mindset shift number 4, just as important as the others, is consistency is easier when you stop negotiating with yourself. And this is where sabotage can get quite practical. A lot of people don't struggle because they lack discipline. We know this. If you've listened to my episodes in the past, it's not that. They struggle because every day becomes a debate, a conversation. Should I train today? Should I eat better today? Should I go to bed earlier? Should I have the ice cream? Should I do the one hard thing or take the easier option? And when you're tired and stressed, you will always lose that debate with yourself every single time. A few years ago, I decided I was done negotiating with that voice in my head, especially when nobody was watching. You've probably heard the phrase, how you do anything is how you do everything. I truly and deeply believe this to be true. And I used to think it was just one of those punchy lines that people say on podcasts. But then, I decided one day to start living it. I made a promise to myself to become accountable to myself behind closed doors when no one's watching. And not in sort of a dramatic, emotional sort of way. In tiny, boring moments that don't earn the applause. I'd be walking down the street and I'd see a little bit of rubbish and I would pick it up. Not because I'm trying to win some moral award, but because it was a vote for the person that I wanted to be. I'd be heading out the door and have that split-second temptation to take the quick mouthful of chocolate because no one would know. No one would see. But then I would start catching myself. Not because chocolate is evil, chocolate is delicious, I have it every single day just about, but because I was practicing integrity with myself, not with someone else. I'd finish the workout and that stretch at the end would somehow always feel optional, but I started doing it anyway. Even when I didn't want to, especially when I didn't want to. And here is what has surprised me. The more accountable I became when the doors were closed, the easier it became to be consistent and authentic when those doors were open. Because I wasn't trying to perform. I wasn't acting every day in my life. I wasn't faking discipline anymore. I was practicing it quietly and honestly. And once that became part of who I was, consistency, It stopped being a personality trait I had wished for and started being something that I could rely on. It became my default. So if you're trying to get consistent with whatever part of your life you need to be consistent in, don't focus on the big stuff. Look at these tiny promises you keep breaking when nobody's watching. That's the real training ground. And mindset shift number 5. You don't need a full reset of your life. You don't need to cancel anyone. You just need to make the next right choice. This one is simple, but it is so powerful. A lot of self-sabotage happens after a slip, after a mistake. You miss one workout and suddenly I've fallen off. You have one bad day and suddenly it's, well, what's the point? You mess up something and suddenly it becomes a story about who you are. You align it with your identity. But real progress doesn't require perfect weeks. It never does. Perfect weeks don't exist. It requires quick recovery. It requires fast resilience. And look, I'll be honest, I've been knocked down more times than I would care to admit in this life. Not just in one arena either. Life has hit me from so many different angles, from health to grief, to setbacks, to shame. And those seasons felt like me doing my best, but it still felt like I was crawling instead of running forward. But the one thing that kept me getting back up, the one thing I could return to again and again and again and again, is a very simple phrase. What's the next right choice? Not the perfect choice. Not the heroic comeback. Not the 10-step plan framework. What is the next right choice? Sometimes the right choice is to apologize. Sometimes the right choice is to get out of bed and have a shower. Sometimes it's going for a walk instead of spiraling once again. Sometimes it's to eat a decent meal instead of punishing yourself. Sometimes it's to ask for help. Sometimes it's to go to sleep early and start rebuilding tomorrow. That phrase has pulled me out of some of the darkest corners of the human experience because it gives you something you can actually do right now, right then, without pretending everything's fine. It keeps your eyes and your focus forward. And when you stop staring into the past, you start seeing the options that are right in front of you. So if you are listening to this and you have been knocked off course in any way, do not wait for motivation to come and rescue you. Don't. Ask the question that keeps you moving. What is the next right choice? Then do that and repeat. Oh, mamma mia, team. I love this stuff. It really does get me going. And let me try and land this episode for you. If you have been stuck in a loop, you don't need a personality transplant. You don't need to become some new, intense CrossFit version of yourself. You need a few mindset shifts that change what you do when life gets messy. Team, life has seasons. Help is actually leverage. Moments are your real wealth. Defaults beat negotiations, and progress returns fast when you take the next right choice. And if you want one sentence to carry you through this next week in 2026, make it this. What season am I in? And what's the smartest way to show up for it? Team, my name is Bart Walsh. This is the Built Resilient podcast. I am a keynote speaker, and 2026 is going to be the best year of your life and my life too. I can feel it. Team, honestly, thank you for listening. I hope some of the messages here hit home for you. If they did, share it with someone. Share it with someone who is capable as hell, but tired of getting in their own way. You can follow me on Instagram at walsh.fit. You can hit me up on LinkedIn if that's your social media platform of choice. If you haven't already, follow this show. We're getting some great feedback, some great reviews coming in, and every little point of data to the algorithm fills my cup and makes this message shoot out to more people. So any interaction you can have, hey, thank you so much. In the next episode, we're going to talk about choices and momentum, a conversation that you definitely do not want to miss. Team, thank you for listening, and remember to choose resilience. Bye.